Welcome back, viewers, to another episode of Diagnostic Dentist. We got a 2014 Chevy Volt 1.4. So it's got a P0300 random engine misfire detected. No cylinder identification and codes. But if we go into data, misfire data, then you get these PIDs and you have misfire histories. And you can look back at the histories of all the misfires. So according to this, cylinder 1 and cylinder 4 have more than 25,000 misfires. Cylinder 1 has 39,000, almost 40. Cylinder 4 has 26. Cylinder 2 and 3 have 200 and 600. Those are going to be pretty much irrelevant and you're going to ignore them. They're just residuals. It's essentially the computer making a mistake. Misfire counters are good, they're not great. So looking at the counter specifically, that you can see 2 and 3, 600, 200, pretty much irrelevant. It's going to ignore them. Going to focus on something that has more than 10,000. That's significant to me. So what I'm going to do is look at data and see if live, if it's just one or both. So it's idling now. 0 miles on the battery charge. 208. I just put some gas in it. And it's a very intermittent misfire. He said high load on the freeway, kind of cruising. You just kind of feel it like a fish bite. Always custom data list. RPM 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got 0 on everything, and right now we're idling 1400 RPM. Step on the gas and give it 2 grand. Let off the gas. Not happening now. Zeros on all 4. Shut it off. Turn it back on. RPM's back. Sweet. Just before filming, a couple key-ons or runnings. It was doing it, but very intermittently. Oh, there we go. Fish bite. Cylinder 1. It went away real quick. Cylinder 1. I'm gonna focus on cylinder 1 again. There are 3 misfires so far. 4, I felt 2, went boom boom. Basically counting 1 misfire as 2. Come on, one more. Boom. And that was on cylinder 4, it says. 1 and 4 live. I'm gonna put the scope on and basically watch the same thing. I want to see what the change is. I'm gonna go from there. The only other thing was yesterday, first test drive drove great, no misfire. Second test drive at night had came to a stoplight and all of a sudden started misfiring on 1 and 4 quite a bit. Got to 20 on 4 and 16 on 1, and it was right when the engine like kicked on at that stoplight. Just shortly after, boom, misfire, probably like 7, another 7, and then the 20. So more than the max, but this is the max right here. Hit 16, but it hit more before that. So definitely 1 and 4. So what do they share? Let's find out. Handy dandy Pico, some leads. Need some more, but this is what we're gonna go after first. because of how intermittent it is. We're just gonna skip relative compression. Feels like a fish bite ignition misfire, so 98% of the time they're ignition misfires other than compression. Very rarely are they fuel, for me at least. And so we're gonna look at ignition. A few wires we can pierce or back probe and look at current in this fuse box. ECM, EMIS, oh, ignition coil. 4. 4. 4. Right there. Fuse 4. We're gonna put something in there. Be right back. Here's some of my Pico box. My attenuators, back probes, some of them. And here's what we need right here. Fused loop adapter with the GTC. And yeah, what I use now is a manual resettable circuit breaker. And yeah, ignition, regular amp clamps. I'm gonna use a low right now. Don't need an attenuator yet. Should be a 5-volt square wave. Let's just see if we have a shorter coil. That'll be real quick, and then I want to see if when it does a fish bite, if we see a change. Current goes away, and ultimately I want to see secondary ignition maybe. We're gonna put this guy right there, slide her on in, and now we have access to put an amp clamp on it. Boom. Hard to show, but you got that connector right there. This is like a cover over it. You just kind of pry this guy down, this little ear away, open it, and then on the sides right here you have little ears that you're gonna pry outwards. What I did is I just went like that. Same thing over here, this way. You can slide it right off. Now I can back probe. ECM right here with our computer driver grounds. And right here is our ignition coil module. We have 4 coils, a ground, and a power. So violet, black, and black are what I'm gonna ignore. I don't need to look at powers and grounds for a misfire. You could. Once I condemn everything, I can go back and do that. It's not bad. It's just a waste of time right now. So I just need to look at the blue, yellow, and blue, because I don't know which is which. Boom. Is that the firing order? That would make sense too. So I'm gonna screenshot that. 1342. It's their OEM diagram putting it into the firing order. So I'm gonna go current on the last channel, ground, and a cylinder 4. There we go. Start that up and check our waveform. So okay, got speaker running. Switch the last channel to current. Zero my yellow. And now let's watch. You can see it on the engine cover. And there we go. Bump my current up. good, looks good. That one looks good. That one looks good. Oh. Cylinder one. Cylinder one had one. Come on, man. You see the coil though. What is this? Injector. But I don't see anything in the current that sticks out. Yep, nothing here. So I'm going secondary. Bungee cord. And we're good. Now we can work on the engine. Hot tamale, hot tamale, hot tamale. Holy shit. Whew, she's a warm one. Okay, first problem right there. Cylinder 4 ain't happy. Boot is torn. And should have said from the get-go, the background on this is he had the misfire intermittently. Went to the dealership, they replaced the spark plugs, still have the misfire, and then they said, we can replace the coil, but we can't guarantee it's gonna fix it. So he said, don't worry about it. And now he's to me. So that's not good. They should replace the coil just because of that, pretty much. I'm sure that's gonna be a problem. Oh, there's our problem. There's our problem. Right there. So this is cool. This is cool. This is gonna be cool right here. I'm gonna put a test light and we're gonna have spark leakage right here, secondary leakage. Cool, 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 cool. I was taking a picture of 1 and take a picture of 4, but in the frame I can see another leakage right there. So there's broken boot on 4 and probably leaking cylinder right there and leaking cylinder right there. Cylinder 4, cylinder 1. Alright, here's the setup. Pico secondary extensions coming straight out of the coil. Use a bungee cord to secure it into the coil boot. And I like to sometimes go to the side a little bit, especially this guy broken, so I have the ratchet kind of pushing it down. But I want to get secondary ignition, red, blue, red, green, and yellow. And then while I'm doing that, use a test light. And we should see it come out of there. Just like I had that Honda video, there's a spark plug boot, a spark plug wire boot, coil, the same thing. Got him. I'm still setting up my misfire counter. So 0 misfires current. We got secondary on here. So blue is anywhere from, this isn't super accurate, just relative, anywhere from 8.5 to 17, 18 kV firing line. We got a good spark line. Known good. We got it known good. This is the same cylinder. Cylinder 1. Running fine. You always want to compare them to when you're running good. Ow! Dude, go away. Well, it'll be natural on the cylinder 4. So we look at the yellow. This is good. Right here. Good. When you have a misfire outside the cylinder, boom, you have high resistance in your spark line. Your firing line will fire, and it takes more resistance to keep the gap going. When it's normal, your spark KV is about 1.17 jump out, and it comes down to about 650 or so, and then it goes right back up to 2, but you're in that 1 kV about. That looks more live. Look at this. Idle. And I'm gonna make it misfire with a test light. So watch that KV, watch that spark line. Whoa! That was it. That was a good one. That's a good one right there. And if we follow our misfires down here, that's a bad one. And that's not really following the rule of Jim Morton, splitting it down the middle, and the problem would be inside the cylinder on this side, and then left side would be outside the cylinder. The problem is outside, but you see it right here. Funny. Nothing is textbook. Everything is about real world. No black and white. Always gray areas. So I'm noticing on the cylinder 1, when I do this, hard to get it to short, and it's still firing the cylinder. So that's why I think it's looking like it's firing inside, because it is. So let's watch cylinder 4. D. Better, it looks worse. You can even see all the hash compared to a known good, no problems. Cylinder 3, green. Look at the hash on the yellow. I say cylinder 4 is the worst one, clearly. And obviously because the boot's torn and all that, probably had the most extreme abuse. then and there's like no firing line sometimes. More stable. And what happens if I short it out? Same thing. It changes a little bit, but that's firing. I'm gonna short it out and it's gonna go. It's misfiring, misfiring, misfiring. Not misfiring. Looks about the same to me. Partial misfire all the time on cylinder 4. So all this hash is not good. That's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to look like that, clean. So we have a constant problem on 4, and then that fish bite on 1. But probably the fish bite on 4 too. Oh god. Okay, so we have a consistent problem on 4, whatever this is. That's the coil, but that shouldn't be there. And then the fish bite is happening on those shorted parts where it's arcing into the head. And then it looks like, and then cylinder 1. That's good, that's good. Misfire, 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 misfire. Partial misfire though, not like that fish bite. So I have the blue secondary voltage and current is in green. So notice it's clean right now. Anywhere from 1 millisecond down to 664 microsecond, which is a little short. About 800 microsecond. Should be 1 to 1.5. And when and it's clean right here. When I give it the misfire, look at it, it's all choppy. My scope doesn't like it. It's all choppy. I paused it, but look at our current ramp, never changes. Always good. Misfire, 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 misfire. Always good. And if I go down to D, right now, no misfire. It's always a little noisy in that spark line. And we have a little less oscillation, but we still have oscillations. Comparing right here in the beginning, we have some oscillations when the coil turns on. They're less on cylinder 4. So right there, no test light, no misfire. It's choppy like the first half, and when I give it a misfire, it grows. And oh, there we go. Look at my duration. Look at the spark line duration, 742 microsecond. And when I give it a misfire, watch it grow. Either it jumps out taller, or and it's taking more energy, or it uses less energy to go through my test light, and it creates a longer burn time. Right there. It's like a partial misfire. Here, I've given a partial misfire. Now look at my duration. Look at that, it grows to about 1.2. It's like two different types of misfires. Complete misfire, like that fish bite, like that. And that causes it to jump. And then there's a partial misfire where you can see the engine cover. Whole engine moves on a fish bite, and then a consistent partial misfire. It's got a mind of its own. It's always hashy, sometimes always only in the beginning. About 9.4. I give it a misfire. Yeah, it gets shorter on the firing line, and the energy doesn't get used to fire it, it gets used to burn it. When I'm giving it a consistent misfire, look at that burn time, look at that firing line. Nothing, and it's all the way up here. And when I give it the misfire, it shortens. Da 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 da, misfire, misfire, misfire. No misfire. Misfire. No misfire. Yeah, we can. Running good, misfire, 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 misfire. Running good, running good, running good, running good. You see a lot of hash. You have a secondary problem, most likely. And so that blue back probe that said cylinder 1, it is cylinder 1. Lines up perfectly. And then should line up with yep, cylinder 2. And then if now it shouldn't line up, which it doesn't, and then it should line up now, which it does. So the line diagram is correct. So there we go, we got the AC Delco GM original. Or is it? It is GM stamped, but it's a Delphi. Here we got our new coil. We're gonna take this old guy off. go. Say goodbye to that. Say goodbye to this. Say goodbye to that. And say goodbye to these. Nice and straight. Blue 1, red 2, green 3, and yellow on 4. And we can start her up. Cylinder 4, very clean now. Notice how clean it is on that burn line. No hash anymore. Yeah, so there you go. One beautiful, perfect shot of cylinder 1. And we got 795 microseconds of burn time on your spark line. Firing line, spark line. In theory, how much energy it takes to jump the gap and how much energy it takes to keep the gap. Roughly, it's also about how much energy it takes to gap when it's jumping out, where it jumps out. But that's more in depth. Yellow, blue, blue. We're all good and 0 misfires. See the history from running it after clearing the code. I had 2500 on 1, 50, 31, 60, 31. Those are false essentially, and then another 1500. But right now, RPM 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have RPM going. 0 current. And obviously there's no place that's going to be jumping out the gap unless I go in here. But even then, with good boots, it ain't going to let me go inside. Beautiful stuff right here. I like it. I like it a lot. Cylinder 1. Good. Of course. So I see the green jumping up a lot. Wow. This Pico lead has a failure out of the E. Out of the end of the E. Damn it, bro. But I went to move it. Ow! And it's leaking out of the E of the Pico. Right there. When I did that, it was on cylinder 3, but it registered some misfires. So it's maybe 1 or 2 on cylinder 2. Fun times. So come on, Pico, help me out, guys.